The Blue Jays finish up a series with the Phillies tonight on Sportsnet 1. Let's see if they can top what happened last night. The kids lead the team to a walk-off victory. Dylan Cease was magnificent on the hill. What's in store for game number 3? Up to the booth we go, and that's where we find Dan Shulman and Joe Siddall.
Jamie, thank you. What's in store for game number 3 is the return of Max Scherzer back on a major league mound at a regular season game, Joe, for the first time since April the 24th.
Starting pitchers are so routine oriented, but when it comes to the future Hall of Famer, Max Scherzer takes it to another level. You watch his routine. We know it's like that in the clubhouse because every one of his teammates know that it is his starting day. Intense on the bench before he heads out toward that bullpen. He's staring, he's watching the clock. We see these things here at the Rogers Center as he embarks on his start, his first one back from his injury rehab, marching down to the bullpen. He's always paying attention to these small details in the baseball game. The Blue Jays came off an emotional victory last night with the walk-off win. This intensity will be felt by his teammates, by his coaches. Everybody feels it. They all know that Max is taking the mound tonight, and now they look to win a series.
And his catcher tonight will be the young man who walked it off last night. Another big moment for Brandon Valenzuela, coming through with a base hit in the bottom of the 9th as the Blue Jays won in a thriller last night, trying to win a series here tonight.
Yes, indeed. What a thriller it was as friends gather on the field before first pitch. It's a beautiful night for a baseball game, and we've got it for you on Sportsnet 1 right after this.
This is the joy of traveling well. Oceana Cruises.
Michelin innovates on the road and far beyond by developing an inflatable sail aimed at reducing CO2 emissions in maritime travel. Michelin, motion for life.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
Welcome to Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet, and the first outing here in the big leagues in a while for Max Scherzer. The forearm is fine, the thumb is fine, the ankle is fine. Max says everything is fine, and he is glad to be back on a big league mound. He will face a veteran lineup, a lot of guys he's familiar with, a lot of guys who are equally familiar with him, including Bryson Stott, who's got some big time numbers on Scherzer. Schwarber's got power, Harper's got power. Scherzer has dominated JT Realmuto, but again, a lot of guys who have been doing this for a while. This will be a very interesting matchup. The velocity was good for Scherzer in his last rehab start. Let's see how he does tonight against the Phillies.
Just 5 starts for Max this season. His last one was back on April the 24th. He allowed 7 runs to Cleveland, including 3 home runs. He went just 2 1/3. Now, after a couple of rehab starts, he says he's strong, he says he's healthy, and he will have a full plate tonight. Philadelphia Phillies sporting 5 left-handed hitters. Always a challenge for righties, always been a challenge for Max. Defensively behind Scherzer tonight for the Blue Jays, Pinango, Straw, and Nathan Lucas. Left to right in the outfield. On the infield, the left side is Okamoto and Clement. Charles McAdoo with the start at second base. Vladdy at first. Brandon Valenzuela back behind the plate with McAdoo at second. It's Andres Jimenez with the night off against the lefty starter.
And here's a guy with a whole lot of power. 23 home runs to lead the majors. Kyle Schwarber has been quiet so far in this series. Same for Turner, same for Marsh. Harper has gotten a hit and 3 walks, but not a lot of damage. Let's see how Scherzer does. As you mentioned, lefties have been a problem for him in his tenure with the Blue Jays, and the first inning has been a problem for Scherzer in his time as a Blue Jay. These guys former teammates with the Washington Nationals back in 2021. A swing and a miss on a fastball in and underway. It's 0-1.
Max is going to have to move that ball around, in and out, up and down, change speeds, and execute his pitches against these dangerous lefties at the top.
These are two guys who are all business, but last year there was a funny moment here in Toronto. Scherzer was throwing a live game. He was coming back from an injury. He was throwing a live game to some Blue Jay hitters. They simulated an inning, and then Max sat down. Schwarber was watching from the first base dugout. It's a strike call, so we'll have to be a little bit deliberate here with the Willie Trainer behind the plate, 1-2. And when Max turned around to start the second simulated inning, Kyle Schwarber was standing at the plate with a bat in his hand. He obviously did not keep going. He's on the other team, but a big laugh was had by all. Good spot for that fastball and good velocity. 95 up above the belt. Schwarber found it back. You like to see 95.
And he's already changing speeds, moving the ball in and out. Be unpredictable against these lefties especially. A lot of four-seam fastball slider to the righties. That's his MO for the most part. But these guys are the challengers.
That is strike three called, and Schwarber knew it. And for Max Scherzer, that is a milestone strikeout as well, one he has been waiting for a while. Congratulations to Max, becoming the 11th pitcher in Major League history with 3,500 strikeouts. And let the authentication begin.
That is a special moment for everybody watching, everybody here in this building.
To be one of just 11 pitchers in history to accomplish something, whatever that something is. Boy, you think a young guy like Trey Savage is looking out there and saying, man, 3,500.
Just soaking it in.
Here's Trey Turner, another former teammate of Scherzer's, and in Turner's case, it was for 7 years. 6.5 with Washington. Then they were traded together to the Dodgers in 2021. They won a World Series together with the Nationals in 2019 as Scherzer is out in front 0-2. It's a couple of good sliders to begin this at bat. Taken low.
That is a lot of sending batters back to the dugout over 19 baseball seasons for Scherzer. And we remember him back in his prime, and it was electric stuff. Now 41 years young, he's got to do it on guile. He can't stuff hitters like he used to.
And there's 35-01. This is going back to 3,500 as he got Schwarber, and even a Max will remove the game phase for just a moment to give him the magnitude of the milestone. All his teammates knew it was coming. 2 down. Here's Bryce Harper. Fastball hit high in the air to left. It's hit pretty well, and it is going to go. A high fly ball that just kept going into the Blue Jays bullpen. And Harper's 15th home run of the season gives the Phillies a 1-0 lead.
Well, we said the ever dangerous lefties at the top of this order. Dan, I did not think Bryce Harper got all of this, and I don't think Max Scherzer thought he got all of it. It was so high, and it just kept carrying and carrying. Watch Max, he's like, there's no way that's getting out. Are you kidding me?
I mean, it was only 339 feet. And that would have been a home run in only 3 out of 30 ballparks. That distance in that direction to that spot of the ballpark. But unfortunately for Scherzer, this is one of the 3.
And one of the guys that hits it, does that is Bryce Harper. But I think that ball just got up at the dome open here tonight. Must have just carried.
Brandon Marsh takes down and away, and it's 1-1. Marsh hitting .332 on the season. He is 1 for 7 in this series. The one was an RBI double in the first inning of last night's game. Just in, says home plate umpire Willie Traynor. Ran it in there again, a foul off, and it's 2-2. Let's get another look at that home run.
Forcing fastball, and it's out over the plate, but Bryce Harper just goes right with that pitch, and it looked like Piñango was posturing a little bit. I thought he was backing up to the track, to the wall to make the catch, but then he turned around.
So Scherzer strikes out the first two, then gives up a home run, and now a full count on Marsh, who has elevated both his average and his power here this season, having a career year thus far. Fastball in there at 94.6, and it's fouled back. It remains 3-2. So Pete Walker's finally got a rotation with 5 starting pitchers right now, with Cease and Scherzer returning. Change up down, foul it off. Good at bat here by Marsh. Scherzer's making some good pitches, and Marsh is staying alive. Three-two again. Inside for ball 4. So the inning will continue for the Phillies. And here's the third baseman, Alec Bohm, hitting in the 5 spot for the 3rd game in a row. Just .222 on the season, although better than that lately. In the series, fairly quiet, 1 for 7, and the 1 RBI single back on Monday night.
Looks like his fastball has some good life at 94 again, but go back to that one that Harper hit. And that's just a great piece of hitting too, by a great hitter, being able to let that fastball travel to take it the other way.
And that's called just low. It is 1-1.
We showed Max in his warm-ups there how he really pays attention to the details of holding runners on. Really held the ball a long time there.
Just a soft toss over to first. Marsh 5 steals in 7 tries on the season. No chase, and it's ball 2. Foul off 2-2 as he goes back to the fastball. Up to 22 pitches now here this inning. The lead at first by Marsh, and another pitch coming to Bohm. Runner not going, and a good job by Bohm not to go after that slider. Ball 3.
Good plate appearance by Marsh, fouling some pitches off, working Scherzer, and now Bohm doing the same.
And now Marsh is going to be on the move. There he goes, and it's grounded foul, and the inning will continue.
Managers always have a decision in this situation. 3-2, 2 outs. The runner will be going. Do you hold him on at first? Left-handed hitter, oftentimes you play in behind because there's a more likelihood that the ball will be pulled to the first base side. But with the righty hitting, he's holding him on, and that just keeps him a little closer to that bag in the event of an extra base hit.
There he goes again, and and it's grounded to short, backhanded by Clement, and he will throw him out to retire the side. The Phillies do strike for one. Bryce Harper with a moonshot of a home run that just made it into the Blue Jay bullpen, and it's 1-0 Phillies. Lead off with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. sliding back into the 2 spot for John Schneider tonight. Brandon Valenzuela, look at the numbers over the last 32 games. In that span, Joe, he is in the top 15 in baseball in both OPS and weighted runs created, plus any number you want to use. He's been one of the better hitters in baseball and certainly one of the best on the Blue Jays. They will face a lefty for the second time in the series in Jesus Luzardo.
Luzardo, 28 years old, and he was originally a draft pick of the Washington Nationals. He moved to the Athletics in a trade and then to the Marlins, and now with Philly. He is in his 8th big league season. The ERA is up over 4.5, but a solid left-handed starting pitcher.
Springer goes after the first pitch, and a ground ball to third for out number 1. Luzardo has only faced the Blue Jays once before. That was last year, and it did not go well. It was here in June, and he went 2 1/3 and gave up 9 hits and 8 earned runs. Bo Bichette hit a home run off him. Miles Straw, who's in the lineup tonight, had a single and a double. Here's Guerrero. Takes it outside, ball 1.
He's not a guy that's going to walk many people, so he's pretty good in the zone, but George swinging that first pitch sinker there off that outside edge. That's where they have to continue to get better. Those are easy outs for pitchers.
They chase more than every other team in the majors with the exception of Colorado. So they're going after pitchers' pitches more often than just about anybody.
Yeah, and that's not a chase because it catches the edge of the zone, but it's not a good swing decision at all.
Lined up the middle and into center. Good contact for Guerrero, and he's got a base hit.
Well, that's a good start, staying behind the baseball and using the middle of the field and elevating the baseball. When you can control your body and catch it out front like that, you're catching it on the upswing.
A 1-out single for Guerrero. Here's Clement hitting in the 3 spot for the second night in a row. And Ernie will look at a called strike. He went 1 for 2 with a double against Luzardo in that game last year. 5th in the American League in batting average, and the league leaders still in hits and doubles. He got jammed right in on his hands, and it'll be Bohm, the third baseman, to make the catch. 2 down.
Well, Luzardo has both fastballs, the 4-seamer and the sinker. We've seen him sinking the ball away early this inning to righties. This is a 4-seamer, and the reason you go in there with the 4-seamer because it's got more true rotation and more true spin. The sinker is designed to move back arm side away from the righty. That was a 4-seamer right in there, and it got in on his hands.
Here's Kazuma Okamoto hitting in the cleanup spot tonight. As Luzardo jumps out in front 0-1. Okamoto 232, 293 in his last 16 games. Still a lot of swing and a miss, but more hits, and the contact is hard contact when he is making it.
He'll use a changeup and a sweeper as well to go with his 2 fastballs.
Difference a lot of swing and a miss on the sweeper.
Yeah, and the difference being from the left side for a guy like Okamoto, that now that sweeper's coming into you. So different than the righties taking off on you.
Just low, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Scherzer, Valenzuela, Pete Walker talking about the game plan for the top of the second. It looked like a changeup there, and it's in for a called strike. 2-2. There you can see, as we mentioned, when the contact is there, it's hard contact. 13 home runs, easily the team leader. To center field, and caught shy of the track by Crawford as Okamoto is retired to end the inning. Max Scherzer getting the start tonight. Went down in the tunnel for a little bit, then back in the dugout, and wants to have a word with Brandon Valenzuela about maybe the first batter they're going to face in the second inning. You're a young man here with less than 2 months in the big leagues, and you're catching a Hall of Famer who just picked up career strikeout number 3,500. That's a lot of responsibility for a rookie.
And we talked about how detail-oriented that Max Scherzer is, and when you're a young catcher, you just want to do everything perfect back there. You want to make sure your setups are right, where he wants to go with every certain pitch, and to be perfect for him so that he's in his best position available to possible to succeed.
Bryson Stott leading off the second for the Phillies. The second baseman hitting .225 on the season. A couple of curveballs to get this at bat going. Both have missed, so it is 2-0. We showed you the numbers for Stott off Scherzer when we showed you the Phillies lineup an inning ago. He is 8 for 13 against him. Now 3-0.
And there's some of the details we're talking about there too. Max could be even just thinking the target, because the way you put up your target might be different with a Gosman or with a Savage or another starting pitcher. I remember catching Dennis Martinez in Wrigley Field one day, and I was in Brandon's shoes, new to the big leagues. You're catching a guy that you see as as everything, being a veteran pitcher, and you don't want anything to go wrong. You want everything to be perfect for him, so you put that pressure on yourself as a catcher.
Did you offer El Presidente any advice in that game?
I was all ears.
Yeah.
You just listen, but it had a lot to do with setup. Dennis Martinez wanted you basically off the plate away like to a right-handed batter. By the end of the game, midway through the game, the umpires pushed me back, says, hey, that's too far. Here I am, a young catcher in the big leagues, and I'm like, well, my guy out there wants me set up out there.
Who do you listen to, the umpire or Dennis Martinez? To left field, Piñango, he's got to get going, and he'll get there in time to make the catch. One down.
Well, there's a good example of how you want that changeup to work. Stott out front with it, and he's got nothing really left but to flick it to left field.
Stott retired. Scherzer wants a new baseball. And with one out, here's JT Realmuto. You talk about two guys who have seen a lot of one another. Realmuto is 7 for 64 in his career against Max Scherzer. That's a lot of Washington, Philadelphia games over the years. Max spent the better part of 7 years with the Nationals.
It's amazing when guys like this, they play the game so long and you're competing against each other. Can you imagine the chess match going back and forth over all these years?
You think it's more about execution, or with guys like this, is the chess part of it just as important?
I think it is, because if you're Scherzer and you get him out a couple of certain ways, then he's going to know that the hitter's thinking that, so I've got to change what I'm going to do, because he's going to be looking for a different pitch.
This is when it'd be great if we could read the minds of each right now. He just threw me that because he thinks I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do that instead.
How did I get to this 1-2 count?
Oh, Valenzuela wanted it. You could see does not challenge it. Just missing down and in. 2-2. You know, second inning, nobody on base. It's not the highest leverage situation, so you can understand not challenging it, even though it was very close. Right on right change up there that Realmuto's way out in front of.
And even that, not something Max does a whole lot, so you're mixing in another wrinkle to a guy that knows you very well.
.73 pitches in his last rehab start. John Schneider said maybe 80 or 85 tonight. Got him to chase a slider way down and away, and Scherzer gets him 2 down.
Well, he saw a couple sliders earlier in the at-bat, but after a fastball and changeup, he went right back to it, and Realmuto can just not hold up.
Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using code STRIKEOUT. Two down and the base is empty, and here's the number 8 hitter, Adolis Garcia, the right fielder, who hit a home run on Monday night. But that has been it for him in this series. He is 1 for 7 with 5 strikeouts. And that's kind of who he is, as we talked about last night. Big power, but a lot of holes in that swing as well. Reaches for it and pops it up right side, heading out of play.
Sure, Max is going to try to keep that ball away from him. He did it with the first 2 pitches.
Former Blue Jay Stuart Baroa looking on from the Phillies dugout. Extra outfielder on this roster. Again, the velocity good, 94.6 right there, but he missed outside, ball 2. And missed a little low to fall behind 3-1. He's chewing up a lot of those pitches, unfortunately, here in the first 2 innings. Part of it was the really good at bat Marsh had. It fouled off a bunch, drew a walk. And outside, that's the second walk Scherzer has given up. It's probably not the ideal lineup for Scherzer to return against. You talked about all the left-handed batters, experienced guys who know him well. Some power in this lineup, obviously. Harper, Schwarber. So not the, softest landing spot to make your first start in about 6-7 weeks. Big swing and a miss by Justin Crawford, the number 9 hitter.
And despite the strikeouts to start the game back-to-back and the swing and miss he's getting, he's not a big swing and miss guy at this point in his career. So a lot of foul balls, a lot of balls put in play. Going to throw more pitches.
When he's been at his best as a Blue Jay, it's because, well, you tell me if this is true, outstanding command, and he'll get some quick outs. He'll have some quick innings.
I agree, and that's what you have to do, and that's why I said you've got to do it with kind of guile at this point in your career. You can't just stuff guys like you used to.
Out in front, 1-2.
Remember when Orel Hershiser was here, your old broadcasting partner with the Dodgers, and I talked to him about that. And the point Orel made, he said, when you get older, the arm speed's just not the same. The ball just does not come out of your hand in the same manner. Not as explosive as it once was, so you really have to pitch.
Chop foul. Remains 1-2 on Crawford, a .231 hitter on the season. Has got very good speed. As we mentioned last night, his dad had very good speed. Carl Crawford with the Rays and the Red Sox. Blue Jays saw him forever. Scherzer's got the one he wants from Valenzuela. And again, the 1-2, and he went back to the fastball, but Crawford got a piece of it.
It looks like he can beat him with the fastball, but he's not quite beating him with the fastball. See that grimace from Pete Walker right there. That's where maybe a few years ago.
Yeah, sure.
That's by him.
He is 41. 1-2 again, and it's popped up. Very shallow left center field. And in comes Straw. A 2-out walk, but nothing more than that. Still 1-0.
Round 1 of voting is officially open. Votes can be cast.
Welcome back to Rogers Center. Brandon Valenzuela's first career game-winning hit was, as he described it to me, an out-of-body experience. He had long imagined what that moment would be, and when that moment became reality, he said it was really difficult for him to put into words. It is so hard to describe, he said. Everyone in this clubhouse will give you the same answer. It just feels unreal. As soon as you make contact, you see yourself on the field. I don't know, it's just weird to try and explain it. Valenzuela was due up third in the ninth and shared that he made a pact with Yohendrick Pinyango to, quote, end this right here. And when the team rushed towards him to celebrate, I asked him who the first guy he saw was. And he said Pinyango probably wasn't the first guy out, but he was the guy he looked for and focused in on during the celebration. And Dan, with the way he's been hitting, it's likely last night won't be the only game-winning hit of his career. Guys?
Absolutely. Thank you, Hazel. The kids are all right, as they say, both Pinyango and Valenzuela. Here, Pinyango goes after the first pitch from Luzardo, and it grounds out to short to begin the bottom of the second. And it sounded like, and we heard it in the post-game interview with Hazel after the game last night, Valenzuela, Joe, he was determined to get a pitch a little bit higher from Duran, to not go chasing down below the zone too much. Easier said than done. Duran had not blown a save all season before last night. Jesus Sanchez started it with an infield hit. And then Pinyango, with Straw running on the play, hit a hard ground ball through the right side. And then eventually, after a stolen base, a wild pitch, the base hit for Valenzuela to win it. And he got a fastball. And it wasn't high, but it was up in the zone. It wasn't down below the knees or anything like that. But as good as that fastball is from Duran, I think you'd rather deal with that than the splinker, and Valenzuela got a fastball.
Well, in both Valenzuela and Sanchez were in the game the night before and faced him, and he threw that splitter thing to both of them, got them to roll over weakly. Sanchez stayed on one and got himself a hit, but I like what he was thinking about there. It doesn't matter if it breaks his bat. If he overpowers him, maybe he's strong enough to get it to the outfield.
Another rookie, Charles McAdoo, in the on-deck circle right now. So in the lineup tonight, if you want to include Kazuma Okamoto as a rookie, and granted that's a different kind of rookie, having played professionally for many years in Japan, but Okamoto, Pinyango, Valenzuela, McAdoo, 4, 5, 6, 7, all in their first year in the big leagues. Another play for Turner at short, 2 down. Right now, Luzardo is doing a nice job being on the edges or just off the edges so far to the Blue Jays. Here's McAdoo making his 5th start, his 3rd at second base. He was at first base last night as he takes high, ball 1. Talking to Don Mattingly before the game. Mattingly, obviously, with the Blue Jays the last 3 years, saw a lot of McAdoo in the spring, and he said to us, I remember him mostly playing third base, and that's what he did in the spring. That's probably the position he's played the most, but the Blue Jays have a little bit more opportunity at second and a little bit of a backup need at first, and McAdoo has played all of those positions at various points, so he's kind of moving around right now.
Charles has that unique stance. You see how closed off he is with that front foot, and you don't see a whole lot of hitters so closed off now, but he said he's just always had a tendency to open up, so he has to start closed so that he opens up to kind of even. That helps his swing.
Strike 3 called. Luzardo very sharp in the early going.
Welcome back to Rogers Center and the WestJet flight deck. Jays fans, now's your chance to send our guys to the city of brotherly love. All-star voting is now open. Channel the power of friendship, and that's with a PH, of course, in honor of this year's MLB All-Star host city, Philadelphia. Support your favorite Blue Jays and send the Blue Jays' biggest stars to the Midsummer Classic. And if you vote at one of the voting booths in person here at the Rogers Center, you'll even get your very own Blue Jays friendship bracelets. So it's time to get to voting. The power of friendship could send your favorite Blue Jay to Philly. Dan, do you think we can wear matching friendship bracelets for the rest of the season?
Absolutely. I don't see any problem with that whatsoever. There's a guy who could easily wind up in Philadelphia at the All-Star game. He has been the best second baseman in the American League to this point of the season. I got a feeling Ernie Clement's going to get a lot of votes. Just his popularity, the size of the fan base for the Blue Jays, and the kind of season that Clement is having as well.
Put that PH anywhere you want with Ernie Clement in it.
That'll be off the glove of McAdoo out at second. And Kyle Schwarber is going to reach with what will likely be a base hit here to start the top of the 3rd.
Well, hard hit to his left. And he was there if he can squeeze it, but he just cannot corral the baseball. Like it went off the thumb of his glove.
Now Trey Turner struck out in the first. And that'll catch the outside corner. 0-1. I'll look down to third to see if anything's going on right now. Schwarber at first, not a fast guy, but kind of one of these cerebral, sneaky guys on the bases. He's only got one this year, but he had 10 last year. 10 stolen bases in 12 tries.
Max won't let him do that, will he?
He won't. He'd never hear the end of it. Just low, ball one.
Boy, Valenzuela does such a good job with that low pitch, but he is not getting the calls from Willie Traynor. They are below the zone, but we've seen him get those calls.
And a curveball is popped up foul and back in the seats below us.
That's why we talk about the ABA system so much and how it's taking the catcher's ability or framing ability away from the game, but that's not true. It's still very, very important. You only get 2 challenges. So if you can get some of those borderline calls, you'll get them that are out of the zone, and the hitter won't be challenging every time.
And a base hit up the middle for Turner. Schwarber up to second. The first 2 have reached here in the top of the third. That'll bring up Bryce Harper, who snuck one just over the wall in left in the first inning for a home run.
Well, I think it surprised most people in the building, including Max Scherzer. Good swing. He's got such an explosive swing, Harper does, but even Harper's probably thinking, I hit it pretty high, but it just continued to carry out of here.
That home run, his 15th on the season, and the 4th he has had in his career against Scherzer in 25 at bats. Off the outside corner, 2-0. Bryce Harper in his career, and Joe, it's hard to believe he's now in his 15th year.
Yeah.
He debuted at 19. He's now 33. He has had an OPS over 800 every year but one. And even that was 767, which is pretty good. The last 5 years, 878, 900, 898, 844, 889. This guy
career's over 900, right?
Career is 905.
Yeah.
This is a Hall of Fame.
Sure.
This is a Hall of Fame. Couple of MVPs. Scherzer in a jam here in the top of the third. That's way down and in. He's fallen behind 3-1 on Harper. Harper also will take a walk, and Max has already walked 2 here tonight, and Pete Walker may be heading towards the phone.
Well, remember, it was Bryce Harper last night in that 9th inning that Louis Varland walked on 4 straight pitches.
How about a 3-1 curveball?
Wow.
Another dangerous hitter on deck in Brandon Marsh. As we mentioned, the pitch limit is expected to be around 80 to 85, and number 60 is happening here already with nobody out in the third. Ground ball right side. Guerrero to Clement for 1. Back to first in time. Let's see if it will stand or if the Phillies want to have a look at it. Scherzer getting over in time, and a challenge is coming, says Don Mattingly.
Philadelphia is challenging the out call at first base.
wasn't hit real hard, and Ernie Clement got rid of this baseball as quickly as he could. Scherzer does a nice job getting over there. He's in great position, but it looks like Harper beat it.
Oh yeah, he is. He did. So it should be a quick and successful challenge for the Phillies. Foot's down. Ball is not yet in the glove. The crew chief is Corey Blazer. He'll be giving us the news, but
review. The call on the field is overturned. The runner is safe. Philadelphia will retain their challenge.
So the Phillies still have their challenge. It's a fielder's choice. Schwarber to third, Harper at first with one out. And now Brandon Marsh, who walked in the first.
It's like Max asked for a little warm-up pitch there just because of the delay. It was granted.
Schwarber at third, Harper being held on at first by Guerrero. And the pitch to Marsh will miss inside, ball one.
He's really trying to get that four-seam fastball inside on Marsh early tonight.
Dribbled foul. 1-1.
When you come in, even when you miss, it still serves a purpose so that he's out front and misses the changeup.
Swung on and missed. 1-2. Up above the zone with that fastball to get out in front of him. Down and in. Phillies won the opener Monday night. The Blue Jays walked it off last night. Final game of the series here. They'll meet again in Philly later in the season. Broken bat, pop up, and Clement will call off Okamoto to make the catch. 2 down.
And would you look at there, how does he finish him off? It took a while, but the sequencing of his pitches eventually leads to that fastball back inside on Marsh. Clearly a game plan by Scherzer coming into this game for the Phillies left fielder.
And here comes Pete Walker. Alec Bohm is going to be the batter.
And this could be a question of, there is an open base out there. Would you rather face the lefty Stott instead of Bohm? Can't see it. Put him on?
No.
Put him on?
No, he's saying give me a blow. Give me a rest is what he's saying.
Come out.
Yeah, that's what
You're
he's saying.
good.
He's
You
saying,
got it.
He's saying just give me a breather.
Come on out here. It's hot. It's a hot night here in downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
You've got a skill there. You're all over that.
He went over to cover first earlier in the inning. He's had some long at bats. He just wanted a timeout.
And he's had a busy few innings. He's working.
First and third. Here's Bohm. Outside, ball one. Phillies have done a good job on the slider. Scherzer has put a few of those in that spot just off the corner to the right-handed batters, but they've managed to hold up on most of them. Fly ball deep left center field, and Bohm has hit it out. That slider was left right over the middle of the plate, and Bohm did not miss it.
You had mentioned earlier that Alec Bohm has turned it on a bit lately. And did he ever on that pitch? This was a hanging slider center cut. You want to get this one out there as he has been doing. Look at the reaction from Valenzuela and from Scherzer. It tells it all right away.
Had a chance to get out of it. Had gotten the second out on the pop-up. Had gotten the first out on the fielder's choice. The second out on the pop-up. Getting Harper and Marsh. But then the right-hand hitting Bohm got him. And now the Blue Jays are down 4. And Scherzer about to throw pitch number 70. Again, he is not going to be able to get very deep into this game at all. We suspect we will see a lot of Spencer Miles here tonight. Even though Miles is on 3 days rest from his last outing, he's the guy they're going to need to call upon for some long relief here tonight. And he threw 73 pitches back on Saturday.
Simeon Woods Richardson threw his 48 pitches on Monday, so he is not pitching tonight.
And you're not conceding anything, but in the back of John Schneider's mind has to be the Yankees are here. Now they've got an off day tomorrow. That helps a lot, but the Yankees are in for a series beginning Friday night. And they're trying to get more innings out of their starters so that the bullpen can lighten its load a little bit. And here's another walk, the third given up by Scherzer. Here's Real Muto. Swing and a miss through a fastball. Real Muto struck out his first time up. And Clayton Fisher is getting up. Runner going. Throw down, the tag by McAdoo, but it's not in time. It'll be a stolen base for Stott, who is a perfect 12 for 12.
Perfect throw by Valenzuela, just can't get it there in time. Stott with a pretty good jump, good slide to the back side of the base.
Now the 1-1. Curveball grounded to third, right at Okamoto. And that'll retire the side, but a big 2-out, 3-run home run by Alec Bohm, and the Blue Jays are down 4-0. About a half an hour from now, it is Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Spurs got a big win, a much-needed win in New York. It's now 2-1 Knicks. You can see that game over on Sportsnet. Bounce back and forth between that game, this game, whatever suits you here tonight. Now a conversation. This is moments ago. John Schneider, Pete Walker, looking at who's coming up to begin the fourth. Is Scherzer done? Do they send him back out and try to get a couple more outs, lighten the load on the bullpen just a little bit, or do they go to Fisher? Or now that Scherzer's out of the inning, do they go to Miles? They can play it different ways, but no matter how they play it, the offense will need to get something going against Luzardo to try to get back into this one. As we mentioned, Miles Straw had a good game against Luzardo last year here at Rogers Center, had a single and a double off him. Miles was out taking BP very early today, as he does almost every day, part of the early group at like 2:30, 2:45. And as is often the case, his first round he swings left-handed. And today he hit a ball into what is now the Phillies bullpen. He hit a home run in batting practice from the left side today.
And looked natural doing it.
Yes, he did.
If you didn't know him, you'd think he was left-handed.
Fly to right center. And it'll It'll be Garcia, the right fielder, to make the play. 1 down. I jokingly said to him, I think I like your left-handed swing better, and he said, you're not the first guy to say that. He is funny. He is a really fun guy to talk to. And we talked to him about the stolen base and all the stuff going on in the 9th inning last night. He's also good at taking you inside the game and walking through a play moment by moment with you, explaining to you what he was thinking and how things unfolded. It's good for
This was
good for us.
This was great for us.
Yeah.
This was one of those days where I didn't just walk over to his locker. I pulled up. I set up shop. I said, Maz, I've got a lot of questions about that play last night. And I said, first of all, you slid into second base. That tells me it was not a hit and run, that you were running on your own. So it was not a steal sign. It was not a hit and run. He had the green light, which means you can go the first pitch, you can go the second pitch. It's based on you getting a good jump. So he got the good jump. That's why he went. But the hitter doesn't necessarily know for sure that you're going. So Piñango's in the batter's box. As a left-handed batter, you can't necessarily see peripherally that the runner's going. Usually you'll hear people yelling, runner, runner.
Swing and a miss, and Lucas strikes out, 2 down.
But when he ran, Piñango swings the bat and he hits a base hit to right field. But because of that, he heard the contact, didn't hear anybody like Carlos Fablis or anyone on his side yelling ball, ball, ball. So he slid in facing center field and back behind him right field. So he saw the ball, gets up from his slide and proceeds to go to third.
Not a play you see very often.
No. Now I said the one thing you didn't do is you didn't peek in because you really didn't know where the baseball was. And he said, yeah, I should have peeked in. I have to peek in. Know where the baseball is all the time. But it led to some goodness in the end.
Yeah, worked out all right. Scherzer looks like he is still in game mode right now. 2 down. Here's George Springer, who grounded out in the first. It's a 2-0 count here. Did he go? He did, says Corey Blazer down at first, so it's 2-1. Lays off there, 3-1. Yeah, Max is still in the game, talking to Valenzuela. Maybe they just haven't yet. The 2 guys at the bottom, don't let him see Schwarber and all those guys at the top again. That one will run inside, and it's a 2-out walk for Springer. And that'll get Guerrero to the plate. Had a base hit to center his first time up. Ball 1. Stott playing basically right up the middle at second. And he actually jumped for the ball that Guerrero hit in the first inning, but it was just beyond his reach and into center field. Defensive positioning has become a real science in Major League Baseball. Inside, 3-0. Interim manager Don Mattingly, former bench coach of the Blue Jays the last 3 years. He's had a good time coming back to Toronto. Reminisced a little bit with us before the game. There's ball 4. It's back-to-back walks with 2 outs.
Mattingly was talking today about the pitching situation that we're talking about right now, and how early in the season when your starters weren't going too deep and you're relying on your bullpen guys a lot and they get worn down, and then Zach Wheeler came back, things kind of settle in, and that's what the Blue Jays are hoping for. They got 6 good innings from Dylan Cease last night, but a little bit of a different story here tonight with Scherzer.
Wheeler on the left, Nola on the right. Nola not pitching in this series. The Phillies last night notwithstanding have been one of the hotter teams in baseball the last several weeks. They're second in their division, but they're a full 9 games back of the Atlanta Braves entering play today. The Braves 45-22. But there's a lot of talent.
Yeah.
Yes, they had a slow start. Yes, they're older. This should still be a playoff team in my estimation.
I think especially when you just look at the top of the rotation, and the Blue Jays have seen 2 of them already in Sanchez and Wheeler, and then, oh, by the way, Luzardo, number 3.
Let's see if Ernie Clement can break the ice. He went. The call made by Willie Traynor, the home plate umpire, 0-1. Ernie was sitting on something a little bit harder than that sweeper.
Luzardo has electric stuff. It can just get away from him from time to time, and that's why the numbers probably aren't as good as the results he's getting with that 4.5 ERA.
Ernie just wants a fastball, and Luzardo is not complying right now. A changeup, then a sweeper, and it's 0-2.
Because he knows what we know and what Ernie does to fastballs, and he does it to breaking balls too. Ernie's hitting pretty well everything.
When you hit 300, you get a little more attention on the scouting report. Got him. The sweeper to get him, and Luzardo strikes out Clement to strand a couple of runners. Well, a best of 7 is now a best of 3. What a wild Stanley Cup final it has been between Vegas and Carolina. Don't miss Game 5 tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. Here it is 4-0 Phillies, top 4, and Max Scherzer is back out on the mound. To face Adolis Garcia. Garcia walked in the second. Called strike, and it's 0-2. And Mason Fluharty is up in the pen, so it looks like John Schneider wants Fluharty at some point to face Schwarber, Harper, Marsh. Well, it's still a ball game, hoping to keep it a ball game. And again, there's an off day tomorrow, so hopefully even if he pitches tonight, they'd have him fresh for Friday against the Yankees. But maybe we are seeing our first instance of they only have one lefty in the pen right now with the Macro getting sent down.
You got it. And we mentioned that last night, is you may want to use a lefty earlier in the game. Could be the 5th, 6th inning. Then you might want to do it a little bit later. It looks like they're going to use Fluharty in the biggest moment, at least for now.
A changeup to get Garcia for out number 1.
Well, Max trying to pull out all the stops. We said at this point in your career, you're not going to outstuff people, so you've got to try to execute and really pitch by moving that ball around, changing speeds, and he goes with another changeup right on right.
Now Justin Crawford hit a fly ball to center field in the second inning. The Yankees won earlier today. They are playing pretty well, even though they are without Aaron Judge right now. They beat the Guardians 8-4. And the Yankees are already in Toronto. They played a day game in Cleveland, a very short flight. They are already here in Toronto. So they got a long time before they have to get ready for the Friday night opener with the next series. The second series of the season between the Blue Jays and the Yankees, who split 4 in the Bronx a few weeks ago. Nice play by Okamoto. The skip across, though, is not in time. Again, Crawford runs very well, and he's safe at first.
Well, Crawford just slashes this ball the other way. See Okamoto way off the line, so he has to go to his backhand, but he goes to one knee, tries to get rid of it as quickly as he can, but just can't get enough on it.
And that is going to be the end of the night for Max Scherzer. 3 1/3, 4 runs allowed. A runner at first, his responsibility. Top of the order coming up, and John Schneider going to the pen. Mason Fluharty is into the game. 4-0 Phillies here, top 4. Fluharty had a great 8th inning in last night's game, Joe, on in a much different type of situation here tonight.
Kind of the unsung hero of that game last night. He came in to get the bottom of the order, but then he had to get Schwarber and Turner pitching a 1-2-3 8th inning, and here he is with Schwarber again. Got him on a first pitch cutter last night.
Schwarber 1 for 2. Had a base hit his last time up. Got to keep an eye on Crawford. 8 for 10 on the season. Crawford kind of breaking back to the bag a little bit as Fluharty started his motion to the plate, and it's in there 1-1. No doubt a disappointed Max Scherzer. He is breaking it down with Shane Bieber, who is expected to make a rehab start for Buffalo tomorrow, and it could be his last one. Now wait and see how he does, how he feels. Line drive, foul, just foul. But for Bieber, Joe, it sounds like 1, maybe 2 more. So he could be back with the Blue Jays, if not in 8 or 9 days, then maybe in 13 or 14 days.
After 2 times through, and I'm sure a lot of it will depend on that next one. You certainly don't want to rush it back. It's been a long time. You know, we said in spring training that we might not see Bieber till June. Well, it's getting closer to July than when we will see him. Later this month.
1-2 down and away, blocked by Valenzuela. Alejandro Kirk is catching tonight in Buffalo after he DH'd last night. Expected to catch Bieber tomorrow night for the Bisons. And Jimmy Garcia has pitched for the Bisons tonight. He went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit, a run. He walked 2 and struck out 1. You know, boy, wouldn't they love to get the best version of Jimmy Garcia back. Obviously, he could be a huge boost in leverage spots in that bullpen. Well, I don't know what to tell you, Joe. I'm looking at the velocity. He averaged 93 on his fastball. That's not Jimmy Garcia.
Not Jimmy Garcia.
So we'll wait for, you know, the questions to be asked of John Schneider after the game, but both the 2 walks and the velocity suggest that it didn't go very well for Jimmy Garcia in Buffalo tonight. Two, and it's hit a long way right center field and gone. Schwarber just kept working and working Fluharty, and he takes him out for his 24th home run of the season.
Left on left, everything for a left-hand hitter is pretty well going to be out over the plate. It's the cutter and the sweeper combination, and this one was pretty middle. But when you get a hitter like that, seeing a lot of pitches going away from him, it doesn't quite get out as far as he wants it. And there's Valenzuela's reaction again. He's got the best seat in the house, unfortunately.
3rd home run of the night for the Phillies. And here's Turner. Boy, he'll strike out a lot, and he may not hit for a great average, but between the walks and the home runs, he is still an offensive force.
Damage.
Yeah.
Just a big threat when that lineup turns over.
If it's 20 years ago, a guy like this is probably hitting 5th, right? Low average, high power guy.
Driving runs in.
But he's a leadoff hitter in today's game, and a potent one. Don Mattingly was asked yesterday, you know, what'd you think when you got the lineup from the Blue Jays and saw Vladimir Guerrero Jr. leading off? And he said, well, Schwarber's our leadoff guy. Like, it's just a different game than it used to be.
And right now, 2 very different hitters, of course.
Yeah. And Fluharty gets Turner for out number 2. Going back to the All-Star break of last year, nobody has hit more home runs than Kyle Schwarber, and it's not even close.
A lot of pop in that bat, and again, when you turn that lineup over, it is such a presence. It really makes you, as a pitcher and catcher, zone in and focus in. You really just cannot afford to make mistakes, and you see the mistake that Fluharty made to a very dangerous hitter when you leave that cutter in the middle of the plate. Fluharty's tough on left-handed batters with those two pitches, but a hitter like that sees everything just like that. Everything's kind of coming and it's going slowly away from you, away from you, away from you. You don't really have to worry about a four-seam fastball or a sinker running in, so you can just give up the inside part of the plate.
And again, these are experienced, talented, dangerous left-handed batters. Not every team has a Schwarber and a Harper.
Nope.
Or a Marsh, who's hitting over 330. Bounced foul up the right side. 2-2 on Harper, who homered in the first and reached on a fielder's choice in the third. Down the left side, but out of play.
See Bryce right there with that right hand. He's just guiding it toward the middle of the field, saying stay in the middle, stay in the middle. That's what these guys do so well, that they really stay on these pitches from Fluharty, from a left-handed pitcher, and that's what the best ones can do very well.
Hits it hard up the middle, but Clemens got it and will throw him out. But two more for the Phillies, and it's now a 6-0 game.
Head is coming to Rogers Center on Thursday, June 25th. Get your very own Blue Jays Mr. Potato Head with a specialty ticket for the game against the Texas Rangers. It's a unique opportunity to build your own Blue Jays All-Star piece by piece. So whether you have fond memories of the toy growing up or you want to take advantage of this one-of-a-kind collectible, this is a game you won't want to miss. Get your specialty tickets now at bluejays.com/tickets. Mr. Potato Head is a little bit before my time, Dan. I'm sure he was right in yours.
The old jokes are they're just there for her. Right?
I like that it was directed at you.
At you.
I know what you mean, Andy.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know Mr. Potato Head either.
Right.
We're too young.
Because you happen to be a few months younger than me, as you remind me always. I think I remember being young, but it was a long time ago.
I thought you were going to say, I think I remember Mr. Potato Head.
That I do. I remember my two oldest boys having Mr. Potato Head around the house. 6-0 Phillies. Blue Jays got their work cut out for them here with Jesus Luzardo. They've had only one hit so far, a single by Guerrero in the first. Springer and Guerrero each walked with 2 outs in the third. And that's it so far. Okamoto hit a fly ball to center, his first time up. Jesus Sanchez not in the lineup tonight with a lefty on the mound. The two left-handed bats in the lineup for the Blue Jays tonight are Yohendrick Pinyango, who's on deck, and then Nathan Lucas. Sanchez a big part of the victory last night. 3 hits, a single, a double, and a homer. Don't look now, but Sanchez is hitting .296, and his OPS has climbed over 800.
He has really turned it on, and a lot of these left-handed bats we've been talking about for so long are all swinging it very well.
He's just shy of enough plate appearances to qualify, but if he had a few more, as Okamoto strikes out, he would be 6th in the American League in batting average. 4 strikeouts now for Luzardo. Tommy Nance is going to get some work in tonight. Recently back off the IL. This will be his 2nd appearance. Well, given how this has gone so far here tonight, as Pinyango wasn't ready or something going on, and he just made a motion to Willie Traynor like I wasn't even looking out at him yet. He can't start until I'm looking out at him, which is the way it's supposed to go. But obviously Traynor didn't see it that way. Line to short, 2 down. Given the way this game has gone so far tonight, Joe, this is a good time for an off day tomorrow for this team to kind of get the pitching staff a little bit of rest before the Yankee series.
Yeah, well, coming off such a high also with that performance by Dylan Cease yesterday, coming off the injured list, and then the late comeback win with the walk-off. It's a bit of a deflator, and that's not the way you want to go into an off day. They had a chance to win a series and still do, but they're really up against it when you give up 6 early.
Valenzuela is walking something off. You see that little facial expression right there, and now the home plate umpire Willie Trainer's asking him if he's okay. Looked like something to do with the left leg.
You just roll
the ankle a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, he's still working through it in between pitches right now. And now he's got something else to deal with, and this one hurts more.
Can't make that one up, can you?
Inside of the left ankle.
And of course it looked like it missed his blue guard, shin guard that he has on there, not quite covering his ankle or his heel, whatever it caught.
I could not read his lips on that, but even if I could, I suspect it might not have been something I can say on
I think he just said that really hurt.
That really hurt. And under the heading of the last thing this team needs is for anything to happen to him with the level that he's been playing at in recent weeks. We mentioned Alejandro Kirk is catching tonight in Buffalo, expected to do the same tomorrow, expected to be here in Toronto Friday, although we don't know yet if that means he will rejoin the team. Usually the Blue Jays like to give a guy a day after he comes off rehab before they get him back in there, but I guess it could be Friday, could be Saturday. We'll see, but it sounds like Kirk is just a few days away. And then obviously a decision will have to be made. Kirk has played in 5 games this year. Swung on and missed. Another strikeout for Luzardo, his 5th of the night. Tommy Nance now into the ball game for the Blue Jays. Might work a couple of innings here in this one. His second outing since coming off the IL. Had some forearm discomfort. As you know, as has been much discussed this year, the bullpen has been carrying a heavy load. A lot of appearances, a lot of innings. The injuries a big part of it. The Blue Jays have thrown the 4th most relief innings in baseball. Hopefully Dylan Cease being back helps that. With Gausman and Savage, you'd love to see them get as deep into the game as possible. Corbin's been kind of a 5-inning guy for the Blue Jays. Scherzer only going 3 1/3 tonight. Bieber back fairly soon, and then they'll have to sort that out. But you know, medium term, long term, later this season, they've got to find a way to get more innings out of their starters.
There is no question the starters have to start locking it in and going a little bit deeper. You just cannot operate like this over a 6-month season, and we saw Mason Fluharty again tonight. He leads the major leagues in appearances, but a lot of his pen mates down there getting a lot of work in, and I think you got to look at your top 3 guys. When you mentioned Gausman, Cease, and Savage, those are the guys you're counting, and they got to give you 6 every time out, if not a 7th, and that will help over the course of the summer. Everybody's certainly built up now. The back end of your rotation, you're trying to get the most of it, but you can't get 3 1/3. You've got to get at least 5 from your back end starters.
You know, the game has changed. The days of your top guys regularly going 7, 8, even occasionally 9. Baseball's just different now. Gausman in 14 starts has gone 80 innings, so let's call it 5 2/3 per start. Cease in 12 starts has gone 68. Same thing. Let's call it 5 2/3. Savage in 8 starts has gone 42 2/3. So that would be more like 5 1/3, if you will. You'd love to see all of those guys kind of get up to 6 if you can. But they've had some, they've had some 3s and 4s in there from not from those guys necessarily, but from the guys at the back end of the rotation or some of the spot starters, and that's when your bullpen really has to work.
And they have used an opener a number of times,
sure,
and that skews the numbers a little bit as well. But I think we know what we're talking about here. I know those guys are talking about. They've got to get that consistency from the rotation. Don Mattingly talked about it over there too, and everybody knows in this game, yes, the game is played differently, but at the same time, you can't just keep filtering guys through.
Marsh with a bouncer left side to Okamoto, and Nance sets down the first batter he faces tonight.
Blue Jays don't have a bullpen full of guys that they can just option back and forth a lot, so it's getting to be crunch time now. It already is.
One good thing they have is 2 guys down there right now who appear capable of going multiple innings now that Miles, at least for now, is back in the bullpen, and I think they want to keep him there to regulate the workload a little bit. Here's Alec Bohm. And then there's Simeon Woods Richardson, who has only made 1 appearance as a Blue Jay, but it was a very good one Monday night. Went 4 innings against the Phillies, didn't give up a run, and certainly that got the attention of the people who make the decisions. And if you have a guy down there, another play for Okamoto. If you have a guy down there who can go 4 in a game, so you don't have to use 3 or 4 guys to chew up those innings, that could really help the other guys. And there you see Woods Richardson in the background behind Rogers.
And all of this, when it's working properly, keeps your leverage guys pitching the leverage innings when you need them to secure your wins. And that's why you want the lead after 6 innings, so you can throw them out there one after another.
2 down for Bryson Stott, who has lined out to left and walked and stolen a base. Curveball and a bit of a late strike call, but it is a strike, says Willie Traynor, and it's 1-1. You can see Nance on his cap has strikeout K, strikeout ALS. Nance lost his dad to ALS about 1.5 years ago, I believe. And if you were watching on Lou Gehrig Day back on June the 2nd, Shai Davidi did a story on and an interview with Tommy Nance, and Tommy spoke very openly about it. Obviously an extraordinarily difficult thing, and always in the front of Tommy's mind.
Tommy has really pitched well too. He was really on a roll before he hit the injured list, just coming off in that Monday outing against the Phillies.
One of these guys you kind of don't notice all that much until he's gone, and you're saying, boy, this would have been a good Tommy Nance spot.
Right.
That would have been a good Tommy Nance spot. Line drive left center and down for a base hit. Stott aboard for the 2nd time tonight. So the inning continues. Here comes Real Muto for 2 on a strikeout and a ground ball. That was the 7th hit of the night for the Phillies, including 3 homers. The Blue Jays have just 1 hit, a single by Guerrero back in the 1st. Curveball in for a strike, 0-1.
See Tommy use the slider more against right-handed batters, but a nice quick way to get ahead.
Big home run for Schwarber tonight. A 2-run shot. Alec Bohm a 3-run homer. Bryce Harper homered back in the 1st. Runner goes. And a ground ball to 3rd. Okamoto up with it and on to 1st in time. He'll make all 3 plays here this inning, and we'll send you now to Jamie Campbell with an update. Are you a Rogers customer? It's Canada's winning inning. This inning, when the Blue Jays get a hit, you could win big with Rogers Beyond the Sea. A look at the very fancy Rogers Terrace. A great view here inside Rogers Center.
That's the way to watch a baseball game.
They're just a little bit below us,
Yes.
a couple of levels below us here behind home plate. 6-0 Phillies, bottom 5. Bottom of the order for the Blue Jays, McAdoo, Straw, and Lucas. McAdoo caught looking by Luzardo in the second. McAdoo got a good look from the team in the spring. Remember how many infielders were at the WBC for the Blue Jays, and McAdoo appeared in 19 spring training games. They play about 30. And he said that made, this is his word, was an enormous help for him in terms of just being able to breathe normally and relax to the best extent possible when he got called up a couple of weeks ago. He had been around most of the guys. He had been around the coaches. He had put on a big league uniform, faced other big leaguers, granted in spring training, but it helped him.
Yeah, big league spring training is a great opportunity for players like that, so that when you do get to the big leagues, the transition is much easier. You pretty well know everybody. When you walk in the clubhouse, they welcome you with open arms because you were playing with them all throughout the spring, and that was a little silent way of the WBC helping a lot of young players.
Yep. Strike 3 called. McAdoo called out on strikes for the second time tonight. That sweeper is a huge weapon for Jesus Luzardo.
It certainly is. It is a big strikeout pitch. It's a pitch that he gets a lot of those strikeouts with, and this one not his best effort. It backs up a little bit and stays out there, but still very effective.
Kind of give up on it, but it's that far out there. So that's 6 strikeouts now for Luzardo, and here's Straw, who hit a fly ball to right in his one at bat tonight. There's that sweeper. Jeff Hoffman will be next. So John Schneider did say before the game Spencer Miles was available. Now it is 3 days rest, not a full 4, and he threw 73 pitches. Sharply hit, a nice pick at third by Bohm, and he's safe at first is Straw, as Bohm took just a little bit too much time. That's how you play the game.
Absolutely.
Good on Miles. Hit it right at somebody in a 6-run game and didn't concede anything.
It's remarkable that he beat it out. He hit it hard. The ball's in his glove in no time at all. But look at the time that Bohm takes. Another poor decision. We saw it last night on Vladdy's infield single where he made the play, but then he made a big off-balance throw when he had time. Tonight it's the opposite. Good job by Straw getting down the line.
Infield hit, and here's Lucas. The middle, and that's a base hit. Straw, an aggressive turn, and then back to the bag. Back-to-back singles with 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th. So here comes Springer, who grounded out the first and walked in the third. This would be the best opportunity so far for the Blue Jays. They had first and second with 2 outs in the third, but first and second 1 out here in the 5th.
I'm sure Realmuto is just going out there to remind Luzardo, hey, we got a 6-run lead. Let's block those 2 out. Let's just play it 1 out at a time right here. Really thinking about limiting the damage. This is a great opportunity for the Blue Jays to get back in this ball game, at least with a couple. They are going to need a big hit at a key time, and they've been hard to find.
One other thing, and it's early right now, but Joan Duran probably is not available tonight. Their closer. He has pitched each of the last 2 nights. So if you can make a dent and chip away, you might wind up late in the game not having to deal with him. Although they dealt with him pretty well last night. Again, that guy's one of the best. And the Blue Jays managed to score 2 off him in the bottom of the 9th. A little bit more zip in the crowd right now with a couple of men on. Couple of strikes on Springer. Straw, the leadoff second, Lucas at first. And a swing and a miss. Down goes Springer, 2 down. And again, that sweeper from Luzardo off in the put away pitch. Now Guerrero, who has reached in both of his plate appearances tonight. A single to center in the first and then a walk in the third. That sweeper couldn't quite get back to the outside corner. Ball 1. One and one.
Just about to say, this is the at-bat where you really got to zone in Luzardo. He's done a nice job staying away from the middle of the plate, but don't give in to him, and he helped him out right there to even the count.
Now the fastball, and it's fouled off right side, 1-2.
99 miles per hour from Luzardo right there.
That's the 4th pitch he has thrown at 98 or above here in this game. The stuff is legit.
Yes.
The stuff is very good. Up and in, 2-2.
Triple digits.
Wow.
He looks like he's rearing back right here in the 5th inning, trying to finish off Guerrero and get out of this inning. Would think he's got to go back to his sweeper.
One will bounce away, and now Lucas is going to second, but Straw hadn't gone to third. And now they've got Lucas caught in a rundown, and that is going to end the inning. Lucas runs into the 3rd out between first and second. He thought Straw was headed for third, but Straw had decided against it. And we'll never know how the at-bat might have finished with a couple of men on, and Guerrero at the plate as the inning is over. All right, Joe, put yourself in the shoes of Nathan Lucas. What happened here?
Well, it's a terrible position to be in because he's watching the runner in front of him. Miles Straw is clearly taking off and going, so Lucas gets going, but Straw puts on the brakes. But what I've always said is you play the scoreboard. It's a 6-0 ball game. You cannot afford any error whatsoever. And Straw's probably saying, I left you out to dry right there, but at the same time, as the trail runner, you just can't let it happen.
So that opportunity comes up empty for the Blue Jays. Top 6, and here's Jeff Hoffman, who worked a scoreless 7th inning in last night's game. Gave up a hit, struck out a couple. Adolis Garcia leading it off, a walk and a strikeout for the Phillies right fielder. Scherzer 3 1/3, 5 runs all earned. Fluharty 2/3 of an inning. Gave up a run. That was the Schwarber homer. Tommy Nance a scoreless 5th. Fastball in a good spot, 1-1. Another fastball, 1-2. So we'll see how John Schneider tries to get this done the rest of the way with the bullpen. Again, he said before the game Spencer Miles was available. 3 days rest, so maybe a limited number of innings. Boy, Okamoto's had a busy night down at third. He'll skip it across in time. A two-hopper to Guerrero, and Okamoto thanking him and apologizing, kind of all in the same motion. Made that a little bit tricky for Vladdy.
Well, I think he had a little bit more time, and if you had to do it over again, maybe plant your feet and make a stronger throw. You see him throwing back off of his heels, bounces it twice, doesn't get anything on the throw, and then forces Vladdy to kind of pick it cleanly.
You like the one hopper with kind of the good long hop. That was a two hopper right there.
It's like if you get the ball that quickly, you have time to do one quick little crow hop, and that gets your legs involved. When you do it like that, your legs aren't involved at all.
Justin Crawford 1 for 2, had an infield hit his last time up. Sees a splitter from Hoffman that winds up out of play down the left field line.
They got a foul ball.
That's fun. They'll remember that a long time.
Oh, yes. Wonder who keeps the ball.
That'll wind up caught. A little soft liner caught by the ball boy down the right field line.
Crawford will get a new piece of lumber. That slider just broke right in on his hands. What a beautiful view for fans at the Rogers Center.
Yep. When the roof's open, it's a great spot to see a ball game, and when the roof's closed, it's because we wouldn't be playing if the roof was open. So this works under both scenarios. Nice warm night, and the roof wide open here at the ballpark. Outside 2-2. George Springer with Lou Iannotti, one of the hitting coaches. Popped up. Guerrero going back. And makes the catch in foul territory as we go to Hazel.
Dan, I asked John Schneider why his team has trouble building off of a good game. He says it's the little things. When we're careless on the bases, errors never help. He says it's frustrating for sure when you put a good game together and then come back the next day and not have a great game. It is the little things. We have to be smart on the bases, don't make errors, and make the routine plays. Guys?
Thank you, Hazel. I think it's something they generally did very well last year. I don't know about you, Joe. I think those two things, base running and the defense, I think both of those things have improved in recent weeks, but they're probably not quite yet overall where John Schneider would like to see them.
For sure, they want to get to a better level. That to me is not the case at all here tonight. You're facing a very tough left-hander in Luzardo, and you were down 4 early like that. You're just behind the 8 ball. So tonight is different altogether, but yes, that's what we have seen in the past, and at the same time, you can't just keep saying they've got a good starting pitcher going tonight. You've got to beat those guys eventually, and you want to get to the postseason. You have postseason aspirations. You're going to face top starters.
They will see Ryan Weathers, Cam Schlittler, and Will Warren over the weekend in the Yankee series. The Yankees had a rainout last weekend, and it kind of juggled their rotation a little bit. Originally, it looked like Garrett Cole was going to pitch in the series, but that appears to have changed. Well, They still will face Schlittler, who's one of the best. Weathers a left-hander, and then Will Warren, a right-hander, in the third game of the series, who's having a very nice season. The Blue Jays have Trey Yesavage, Kevin Gausman, and Patrick Corbin lined up.
Weathers was off to such a good start. He's given up 5 runs in each of his last 2 starts.
Schwarber takes a walk, on base for the 3rd time tonight. So Gausman will pitch in the Saturday game. Good pitching matchup, Gausman and Schlittler. The Yankees, without Aaron Judge, just went into Cleveland and swept the Guardians. And they've won 4 in a row overall.
Swinging the bats pretty well without Aaron Judge.
Scored 8 runs today, scored 7 in the first game of the series. No Stanton either. He's on the IL. Blue Jays and Yankees split a 4-gamer a few weeks ago in the Bronx. 1-1, the count on Trey Turner. Swung on and missed. 1-2. Schwarber the lead. Hoffman the set. And that is there. A slider taken for strike 3 called to retire the side. And it's on to the bottom of the 6th.
Welcome back. John Schneider has had what he calls quiet talks with Vladimir Guerrero Jr., where he's had to constantly remind him that he is one of the best hitters in the game. He's trying, and he wants to do what everyone wants him to do, Schneider said. I asked him, what is your message for Vladdy when he's struggling? He said, sometimes less is more. Sometimes there's overcoaching where you have too many people in his ear, Schneider said, but hopefully a good string of pitchers will force him to get going. Guys?
Hazel, thank you. It's, I think, the biggest mystery of the season. And again, he was hitting .358 a few weeks ago. The power wasn't there, but the singles and the walks, a very high on base percentage. The OPS was over 900 for a while. It's been different the last several weeks. Some good plate appearances tonight. A base hit, then a walk, and again it was 2-2, and Lucas was tagged out for the 3rd out in the bottom of the 5th. So Vladdy is up again to begin the bottom of the 6th. He wants it as badly or maybe worse than anybody else.
And it's going to come. I mean, you have to go by track records in this game over the number of years. Now, yes, he's had his ups and downs like a lot of hitters do. But there shouldn't be any question at all that it's going to come. The frustrating part is that it's June and we have not seen the power come around, and it's Vladimir Guerrero Jr. This is a guy that this is the face of your franchise. This isn't just some middling number 7 hitter that's going through a terrible first half of a season.
And he's not alone. There are other big names. I know this doesn't make people feel any better, but there are other big names around baseball who are struggling more than he is. Guys with great track records as well. Fernando Tatis Jr. Now, he hit a walk-off home run today for San Diego, but that was just his 2nd home run of the season. His teammate Manny Machado is hitting .172. Cal Raleigh's on the IL, but he was hitting .161 when he got hurt. He still is. He hasn't come off the IL. So, again, I know people don't want to hear it, and that probably doesn't make Vladdy feel any better. They need the damage. They need the runs driven in.
But it's also not a player in his mid or late 30s. He's in the prime of his career, and that's what gives you the confidence that, yes, he's going to figure this out. The part that I'm sure is frustrating to fans and to Vladdy himself is it shouldn't go on this long without figuring it out. But what are you going to do? And as John Schneider says, you just keep going out there every day. Keep going out there every day, and you just hope that switch goes on.
Full count pitch, grounded to short. And Guerrero retired for the first out here in the bottom of the 6th. Now Luzardo to face Ernie Clement, 0 for 2 on a pop-up and a strikeout. We'll see if this batting order kind of changes day to day. We saw Guerrero hit leadoff last night, but Springer wasn't in the lineup. George is struggling. Does he stay in the leadoff spot? Does Ernie feel comfortable in the 3rd spot? What do they do with Alejandro Kirk when he comes back? Against a righty, Lucas is always up near the top somewhere. We've seen Pinango hit 1st and 2nd. Sanchez settling in at cleanup, and it's probably going to change day to day, but I don't think people should look. It's a lefty on the mound tonight too, so it's different, right? Yep. So
I don't think there's any question the lefties that have been swinging it well need to be in there.
Previous pitch was called the ball. The catcher's challenge.
This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers.
The call's overturned. The pitch is a strike. Philadelphia has 2 challenges remaining.
Just caught the bottom of the zone. You know, Ernie in particular has never hit 3rd before. We've seen him 2nd a lot, but we've seen him 5th and 7th and 8th at times. Now he's hit 300 too, but where's the best spot for him against a righty when Kirk is back in the lineup? Ball 4. Clement takes a walk. You know, Varsho's been out of the lineup for a few days now. They're hoping to avoid an IL stint, and John Schneider sounded optimistic about that before the game. Where do you work him back in? It'll change day to day, and it's already a little bit crowded with all the left-hand hitting outfielders. We'll see what happens when Kirk comes back, but that makes it a little bit more crowded as well, which can be a good problem. You know, then you've got some quality bats coming off the bench. But
I liked the look of it last night against the righty starter, having the 3 bats, Lucas, Sanchez, and Pinango in the top 5, just because they're swinging it really well right now. Maybe you put Lucas in the leadoff spot.
Braden Fisher, who has had 3 days off. So with an off day tomorrow, they'd like to get him an inning here tonight. Check swing did not go. 2 balls and a strike on Kaz Okamoto. I agree with you. The way that Lucas and Pinango and Sanchez are swinging, they've all got to be in there as much as possible against a righty, and pretty high up.
Yeah.
It's not a developmental year. It's a try to win year. Some teams are having a developmental year.
Yeah,
but this team,
no, that's not the case.
Obviously, the Blue Jays are not, or don't want to be in that category.
Don't expect it to be. That payroll is up, and they're in it to win it, especially coming off a World Series appearance.
Again, the 2-2, and it's taken low. Luzardo tried that sweeper, but bounced it in a full count.
And you certainly have to hope when Kirk does return, it looks like he would, fit in the middle there perfectly somewhere. But the fact that he wasn't really hitting before, it was early in the season, but he needs to come back and hit as well.
And a walk for Okamoto. So back-to-back walks with 1 out here in the 6th.
Get game-changing internet and Canada's most reliable internet. Rogers Xfinity. We got you.
Bullpen up now for the Phillies. Jonathan Bolin is getting loose. 91 pitches for Luzardo. And here comes Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach for the Phillies. 4 walks now for Luzardo. Otherwise, he'd be in great shape in this one, but the pitch count has climbed on him a little bit. And again, Chip away, maybe no Duran, but you got to start chipping away pretty soon here.
Yeah, exactly. Slowly running out of time. But this is what we were talking about earlier about Luzardo. He can be so good, but it's the inconsistency that he battles. You mentioned the 4 walks. The 4 walks have come in 2 pairs. Just kind of loses his own at times, and this is where you've got to jump on him, but they have not been able to take advantage.
The batter is going to be Yohendrick Pinango, 0 for 2 tonight. Pinango had a couple of hits last night, including, of course, that pivotal base hit in the 9th inning. And then in the first game of the series, had a rocket of a double off the lefty Christopher Sanchez. It tells you what the Blue Jays think about Pinango as a hitter right now, that not only did they choose him to be in the lineup, had a couple of other options, but they've got him in the 5 spot against a tough lefty. Oh, 0-1. Got another sweeper, 0-2. What a weapon that is for Luzardo. Clement out at second, Okamoto at first, 1 out in the inning. And somehow Real Muto keeps that from going to the backstop.
Oh, what a stop that was by the veteran catcher. This is where you play goalie. He spiked this in the ground so far away from home plate. Just stick your glove out there, and he made a glove save.
It's a 35-year-old back there, too.
You're probably not getting your body in front of that one, so you just try to stop it with anything. He almost gloved it.
And Pinango waves at one way off the outside corner. Just not close. Another strikeout, and again, it's the sweeper for Luzardo. What is it about? A lot of guys have good breaking balls. What is it about him that makes somebody swing at a ball that far outside?
Well, because he's a left-handed hitter, I think with Pinango, you're looking at just a couple of pitches. He's using the 4-seam sinker mix and the sweeper. It's 2 pitches. It shouldn't be that way, but clearly he is not picking it up.
Valenzuela lines one into right for a base hit. Clement is running through the stop sign and will score. The ball gets away from Real Muto as Okamoto comes to third. And Brandon Valenzuela has driven in the first run of the night for the Blue Jays.
Valenzuela wasting no time. He jumps on that fastball. Up in the zone. Why not look for the heater early? Good arm in right field in Garcia, but Ernie just keeps on going. Good thing for him. The throw is a little to the right of home plate.
And Clement running through the stop sign from Fabulous, but felt good about his chances. The Blue Jays have their first run, and they have seen the last of Jesus Luzardo. Welcome back to Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet. The Blue Jays have their first run of the night, but still trail 6-1. First and third, 2 outs. Right-hander Jonathan Bolin into the game.
4-seam fastball averages over 97 miles per hour. He'll use that a lot against left-handers. He's got a ton of pitches. The changeup, the sweep, or the slider, the curve, but he's going to be a lot of 4-seam fastballs with the changeup and slider mostly to lefties. And he is getting a lefty in the box here.
Andres Jimenez is going to pinch hit for Charles McAdoo.
I thought we might see Jesus Sanchez here, Dan, and only because he's your best bat right now. He's your best option, and to me the game is on the line right here.
Then you burn 2 guys with 1 move in the 6th. You're okay with that?
Well, no, I'm not okay with it, but I think what you're doing in a 6-1 game in the 6th, this is probably what John's facing right now. Sure, you're pinch hitting, getting the lefty in there, but it's Jimenez instead of Sanchez.
I thought Jimenez would hit here, but I thought, and maybe still think, that if Jimenez gets on, then Sanchez hits for straw. But right now Miles is in the on-deck circle. Don't know if Sanchez is moving around in the dugout with a helmet and a bat.
And my issue with that is with 2 outs, it may not come to that. I think Sanchez with 1 swing of the bat can turn this game around.
Fastballs up and away is what we've seen so many pitchers try to do and have success doing against Jimenez. There are times he'll shoot it to the opposite field and look very comfortable doing it, but there are times when he'll swing through it with regularity as well.
It feels like when he decides to swing, he then goes back out and around, and that's long and late on the heater.
Pitch in the same spot. He lifts a fly ball to left. Marsh will make the catch, and that'll end the inning. Valenzuela with an RBI single, but the Blue Jays still trail 6-1.
This summer, Sundays are best spent at the ballpark. Bring the whole family out for an afternoon of fun. On Sunday, June 14th, join the Blue Jays for Junior Jays Sundays, presented by Ontario Honda Dealers. Outdoor programming kicks off at 10:30 a.m. with activities, inflatables, mascot meet and greets, and more. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions for tickets. Dan?
Anna, thank you. Always fun on a Junior Jays Sunday. Top of the 7th, 6-1 for the Phillies. And here's the 5th pitcher of the night for the Blue Jays, Braden Fisher.
33 games, another one of those relievers for the Blue Jays that has been used an awful lot. Those 33 appearances, tied for 3rd in the big leagues. We already talked about Mason Fluharty leading Major League Baseball in appearances.
Andres Jimenez will remain in the game at short. That'll move Ernie Clement over to second. And Bryce Harper will lead it off. Homered in the first. He's 1 for 3. Again, Fisher has not pitched any of the last 3 days, and it's an off day tomorrow. So if he didn't pitch an inning tonight, he'd have gone 5 days without throwing. So I think this is one, no matter what was going on in the game, probably Fisher was going to get an inning tonight anyways.
And you've got to keep Braden Fisher sharp, too. I mean, he's a key piece down there, the way he has been pitching.
Again, the 1-2 pitch to Harper. Valenzuela asked for the appeal, but no swing. John Schneider talking about that big 12-6 curveball Fisher has as something that they hope can neutralize left-handed batters. Again, down to just one lefty in the bullpen right now. Fastball taken high, and it's full. Marsh on deck, and then Bohm. Bohm with the biggest hit of the game. The 3-run homer back in the 3rd. Came with 2 outs in the inning as well. That's ball 4. So Fisher got ahead of him but couldn't finish him off. Now Marsh 0 for 2 with a walk. Strike 1 called. Runner goes, and it is fouled back by Marsh. 0-2. So there's another example. We've talked about it in a Blue Jay context. Now it's 0-1 on Marsh. It's not 1-0. So once it's 0-1, even if you sense your buddy got a good jump, you got to take care of things at the plate. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. 0-1, you can't just let that runner go and then you go to an 0-2 count. The much different scenario there. He takes his hack.
Defensive swing.
Right there. You see how late he waited. It's like he was going to take
He's
the
laughing
pitch.
at himself. Yeah.
But he's like, wait a minute, that's coming back.
Yeah. I hope the kids don't see that one. But you know what it did? Got him another pitch.
Absolutely.
And that's what it was designed to do. You know, this is a good pitching staff the Blue Jays have, but they keep a catcher busy back there.
Sure do. Well, you've got the breaking balls from Fisher. You got the splitters from guys like Savage and Gausman. And the pitchers want that. They want confidence where they can bounce it, because you have to be able to try to get those chases.
Harper draws a throw. Bouncer foul. Marsh is tough, man.
Yeah.
He gives you a quality at bat.
Not a whole lot of swing and miss. He's going to make contact, but you can get him to expand the zone. Tough guy to put away.
Pretty good hitter in his day looking on. Don Mattingly dribbled foul up the third baseline. Went to Philadelphia. His son Preston, the GM, went to be the bench coach from Rob Thompson, who was relieved of his duties several weeks ago. Mattingly taking over. He was joking about managing against John Schneider. He goes, like, I know what he's going to do, and I know what Miles Straw does, and I know when he's going to do this with Lucas and this with Clement, and in a very playful way, the two have remained close. And as Schneider said often during Mattingly's time with the Blue Jays, Donnie Baseball was John Schneider's favorite baseball player when Schneider was growing up as a kid, and then he wound up working with him for 3 years.
And what you're referring to is all of the information that's out there. Manager tendencies. When do they use this guy to pinch run? If it's the 6th inning and I've got my lefty in there, will he pinch hit for this guy? So do I want to go to the bullpen yet? And yeah, they know exactly what's going to happen across the field.
Well, and Mattingly was often the guy to say to Schneider, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? And then he'd go tell the players. Like, Mattingly was a huge part, obviously, of what they were trying to do offensively. So I don't know that John Schneider can do much to surprise him here in this series. Look at this at bat that Brandon Marsh is putting together. Yet again, the 2-2, and finally Fisher will get him. Let's go to Hazel.
Dan, you guys were talking about Fisher's workload, and he is throwing less throughout the day. He told me he wants to keep the workload somewhat the same, just spreading it out. So if he's throwing more on the field, he's doing less in the weight room or in the clubhouse. His catch play is a bit shorter these days, but he did caution, if you're going to make adjustments, it has to be gradual. You can't go from one extreme to the other, because that's also not good for your body. Guys?
Hazel, thank you. And a bit of a milestone up on the scoreboard. I don't even know if Fisher realized it. That was his 100th career strikeout, and they put it up on the scoreboard, and Fisher tossed that ball out of play. Here's Alec Bohm.
Well, hitters go through it too, but pitchers also, what Hazel's referring to there. Now, Braden pitched in 52 games for this team last year, his first year in the big leagues, and I'm sure the learning process has continued and developed, and he's continuing to do it here in his second year, because you get to know your body a little bit more, and you want to be ready when your name is called during the game, rested and ready.
But any young pitcher, rookie second-year pitcher, will tell you what a huge adjustment it is to go from the minor leagues to the major leagues. In the minors, they play 6 days in a row, then have Monday off. You're probably pitching twice in those 6 days. In the majors, if you're a key guy, you could pitch 3, maybe 4 times in 6 days. Plus, you're probably doing more throwing on the side. It can be a physical exhaustion. It can also be a bit of a mental exhaustion to get adjusted to big league life.
And the details that Hazel was referring to, it's the catch play. How much do you play catch? How long do you go? Is it long toss? Do you get on a mound?
Bohm will poke one softly into right for a base hit, and Harper can come around to third.
That ball is well off the plate away, and Bohm is able to get the barrel to it.
And Pete Walker's on the phone. Fisher, all those pitches in the Marsh at bat. So he's at 20 right now with just 1 out. Pete Walker's going to get somebody else up. Here's Bryson Stott, 1 for 2 with a walk. Infield in for the Blue Jays. And now Valenzuela on his way to the mound. And the phone call was for Spencer Miles, so he is available, but clearly, Joe, they wanted to give him as few outs as possible as were necessary here, so they have cycled through some others, but Miles is going to get up now.
And that mound visit was to give Miles a little bit of time, but he had to get that pitch comm organized first. He's just throwing his first ball now.
Curveball stays high.
Well, he can get a ground ball with those breaking pitches, and he's hoping to get a ground ball hit right at somebody here. Blue Jays playing the infield in, but as is the case, if it's hard right at somebody and that runner on third's tinkering around, they could turn 2 in the middle if they had to.
Out in front now, 1-2.
Get the feeling it's pretty hot down on that field.
Yeah, I would think.
A lot of these guys are looking exhausted, especially the pitchers.
A lot of foul balls. They have been awfully tough here tonight. Blue Jay pitchers have already thrown 160 pitches in this game with 1 out in the 7th.
Wow. .82 from Max Scherzer in just 3 1/3 innings.
A lot of deep counts. Not a single 3-up, 3-down inning tonight. 46 pitches fouled off by the Phillies tonight to extended bats. And lined into left center, another good at bat. Stott with a base hit, drives in a run, and makes it 7-1.
Well, we see Braden Fisher get away with these curveballs at the top of the zone like this quite often, but not this time, as Stott is all over it, lining it into left center.
And here comes John Schneider. And he'll walk out there a little bit slowly. Hasn't made the call yet, but assuming that Spencer Miles is ready, he's going to make the call momentarily, and there it is. So a tough one for Fisher, unable to get through the inning. And he will leave. Miles will enter here in the 7th. So here is Spencer Miles, who is going to be asked to soak up some innings, get as many outs as he can. He is on 3 days rest. He last pitched on Saturday as the bulk guy, but I guess officially, although he never really left the bullpen, officially back in there now that the Blue Jays, at least for the moment, have 5 starters. But you know, again, it's a fluid situation. We'll see how things are going forward. But right now, not the kind of spot you want to use a guy who has pitched as well as he has, but they need him in this spot right now.
Yeah, he had a tough one against the Orioles, giving up 6 runs over 3 innings, but bounced back very nicely against those same Orioles on Saturday, giving up just 2 over 4 1/3. But yeah, we were thinking more. He's turning into kind of a leverage type guy with how well he has pitched.
First batter for him is JT Realmuto. A run in this inning for the Phillies to make it 7-1. Alec Boehm is at second. Bryson Stott, who drove that run in, is at first. And there's 1 out. In the air, shallow right, down the line. Lucas over and makes the catch for out number 2.
Miles has both fastballs, the 4-seamer and the sinker, and he'll average around 96 with those fastballs. 2 breaking balls, the curveball and the slider. So we have seen it. The stuff is electric. He is continuing to try to harness that stuff in his rookie season.
Adolis Garcia for 2 with a walk. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
That's the slider that he'll use more against righties, curveball more so to lefties, but he'll use them both.
Ground ball to short. Jimenez to Clement to force the runner and to retire the Phillies. 7th inning stretch here at Rogers Center. It is 7-1 for the visitors.
It's not lunch, it's not dinner, it's Looney Dogs Dinner, and Tuesday at the ballpark has never tasted better. Come join us on June 23rd at 4:07 p.m. for a special daytime Looney Dogs Dinner presented by Schneider's. Fans show up hungry every week, so bring your friends and see if you can set the next Looney Dogs record. Get your tickets today at bluejays.com/tickets. Dan?
And a thank you to the bottom of the 7th here at Rogers Center in front of a crowd of 35,733. 7-1 Phillies. Final game of this series before an off day, and then the Yankees come in. 29-year-old right-hander Chase Sugart now into the game for the Phils.
Sugart was a 12th round draft pick of the Boston Red Sox back in 2018. He broke into the big leagues with Boston in 2024. Just pitching in 6 games, but 35 games out of the Pittsburgh Pirates bullpen. Last season pitched to a 3.40 ERA and making his 17th appearance here tonight for the Phillies.
He'll face Miles Straw, Nathan Lucas, and George Springer, the 8, 9, and 1 hitters. Straw tonight 1 for 2, had an infield hit in the 5th, and a ball that, quite frankly, Alec Boehm just took too long getting rid of. And by the time he got the throw over there, Straw, he was hauling it down the line, and there safely with a base hit. Up high, 1-1. 4 hits for the Blue Jays tonight. They have also drawn 4 walks, but they have managed just 1 run so far. They've left 6 men on. And that's ball 3. Just low. That is clearly in there for a strike. 3-2. Lucas next. Center, a base hit. The second knock of the night for Straw, and again flying up the first base line and making a big aggressive turn just to force a throw. He plays the game the way it should be played.
Absolutely. Right off the bat, he is thinking too, because you're going to round first base very hard. pick up the ball in the outfield, see who fields it. If there's a bobble at all, he is not even breaking stride, but they field it cleanly. Gets back to the bag knowing the score.
Leadoff man aboard, and here's Lucas 1 for 2. He had a base hit his last time up. So Lucas has now had at least 1 hit in 14 of the 15 games since he came off the IL.
I don't doubt with the humidity here tonight, it's a hot night. Looks like Willie Trainer is trying to get some dirt out of his mask. He's using his handheld indicator to try to do it. Things get sticky back there with the dirt.
Blue Jays taking 2 out of 3 from the Orioles, in jeopardy of dropping 2 out of 3 here. Then the Yankees coming to town beginning Friday to finish off the homestand before a really interesting road trip. How about 3 at Fenway Park and then 3 at Wrigley Field?
How about those ballparks?
Pretty cool, huh? The 2 oldest ballparks in the majors. For a lot of these guys, it'll be a first, right? A couple of firsts. Both of those teams, by the way, really struggling.
Yes.
The Red Sox lost to Lucas will take a walk. Red Sox lost again to the Rays today. They are 27-39 on the season in the basement of the American League East. The Cubs are out in Colorado right now. The Cubs got off to a great start at 27-12 and are I believe they are 7-21 in their last 28 games.
Yikes. All kinds of starting pitching problems.
Yeah.
Chicago.
I don't know if this has ever happened before. I mean, we're less than halfway through the season. The Cubs have had 2 10-game winning streaks and a 10-game losing streak already. Talk about your highs and lows of being the fan of a Major League Baseball team. So George Springer's coming up with runners at first and second and nobody out. Springer 0 for 2 with a walk and 0 for his last 13 right now. Ball 1. That, by the way, and I'm just going based on what I see on the scoreboard, is that was the last mound visit the Phillies have. You don't see teams run out of mound visits all that often, but (2-0). Nobody up in the bullpen, and Sugar is fighting his command. Low ball 3.
Taking all the way here.
Not close. And that walk is going to load the bases with nobody out for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Vladdy, a base hit in the first, a walk in the third, a ground out in the 6th.
And this is always the tricky scenario. It's a pitcher that has to throw strikes. So do you look for the first one, or do you take one because he can't find the plate right now?
I think you really got to zone in on. He is all over the place right now.
I would take another one.
Right.
You have to. You allow these pitchers to dig these holes. You can't help them out of it.
Even a guy like Guerrero, you're taking.
Well, a guy like Guerrero swinging the bat the way he is right now, right, as opposed to the red hot Vladdy Guerrero.
2-0.
And I say that because the last thing you want to do is swing at something on the edge and bounce it into the ground.
Brad Keller just got up. Well, he took one right down the middle for a strike. 2-1.
Yep, still got to come 2 more times.
Yep. Guerrero tells you it's outside. Ball 3. Ball 4, and that's a run. It's 7-2. A base hit and then 3 consecutive walks by Sugar. I wouldn't think Keller is ready just yet. Don Mattingly may have to give him one more batter. And here's Ernie Clement. It's getting noisy. For strike 1 call.
That's the right thing to do. You can see Ernie was taking all the way.
Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. A well hit ball to the opposite field. Garcia back, makes the catch. The Blue Jays will get a run out of it. Lucas in to score. Springer to third on the sac fly. 7-3, but that close to really being big damage for Ernie Clement.
Ernie got a good pitch out over the plate and hit this ball hard and deep to right field. Hit it more on a line too. I thought it was getting over the head of Garcia, but he just does a back pedal there right in front of the wall.
Talk about feeling for the wall there, but he made the catch. So it's 7-3. Can they make another dent in it here? First and third, 1 out for Kaz Okamoto. Still got 8 outs to play with in what may be a depleted bullpen. And now here's Don Mattingly. He put that off as long as he could before coming out. They're booing Donnie Base. You can't boo Don Mattingly. Don't boo Don Mattingly. But he'll make the pitching change here. A rough outing for Sugar. And here comes Keller in the 7th. So the Blue Jays have forced Don Mattingly back into the bullpen. It's now 7-3, and they've still got something brewing here with Brad Keller now in the game.
Keller pitched a scoreless inning on Monday night in the Phillies 5-2 win. Did allow a hit, walked a batter, but he is trying to calm the storm here for the Phillies.
And Kaz Okamoto is trying to make it a little stormier for the Phillies here. Runners on the corners, still just 1 out. It's Springer at third, Guerrero at first, and here's a bullet to right. Garcia is going to make the catch. Here comes Springer. It's a strong arm, but he's safe at the plate. Springer gets in there underneath the tag, and it's 7-4.
I was a little surprised to see Springer go. That's a good arm in right field, and Garcia was in a very good position. In fact, I think the ball beat him. If Realmuto catches this ball in front of the plate, he may be able to do a little sweep tag. He gets behind this ball and unloads it quickly, but watch Realmuto, who takes a step back into foul territory. He took himself out of the play.
And meanwhile, now Adolis Garcia, after that strong throw, and we'll get another look at it here, he may be injured. He was holding his right shoulder moments ago. Remember, Addison Barger injured his elbow on a throw a few weeks ago for the Blue Jays. And now Adolis Garcia, who's got a very strong arm as well. Something going on with him in the shoulder.
Well, a great slide by George, diving to his left to avoid the tag.
And Garcia is coming out of the game.
The throw takes Realmuto back behind the plate, but look at George adjust his slide and then swim in there with his left hand touching the plate.
So they've got 3 here this inning to get within 3. Garcia out, and it's former Blue Jay Stuart Baroa going into the game out in right. Keller will get a couple of warm-up pitches.
Couple of well hit balls off the bat of Clement and Okamoto. Unfortunately for the Blue Jays, just 2 sacrifice flies. There could have been a lot more damage with those swings.
You know, the Phillies may be in a bit of a spot in their bullpen. Again, Joan Duran has pitched each of the last 2 days. Brad Keller is probably their number 2 guy, their second highest leverage guy, maybe number 1 tonight if Duran can't pitch. Orion Kerkering threw 22 last night and 27 on Sunday. Alvarado has pitched 2 of the last 3 as well. This game is not over.
Nope.
So Keller throwing pitches while Baroa loosens up out and right. Looks like Baroa is ready. And with 2 outs and Guerrero at first, here comes Pinango. One guy we have not seen come out of the bullpen yet for the Phillies in this series is Tim Meza, the former Blue Jay, who got a very nice tribute video here on a Monday night and is having a very nice season for the Phillies. One of 3 lefties out in that pen. Pinango takes strike 1. There's Meza. We had a chance to catch up with him in the visitors dugout before the game. A Pennsylvania native, a Phillies fan as a kid. Ground ball to third. Bohm has it. And Pinango thrown out. Now the inning is over, but the Blue Jays do get 3. 7-4 at the end of 7. And time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie Campbell and Kevin Pillar.
30 years ago, the Blue Jays went back-to-back, and now the championship rings are finally yours to wear. On Saturday, July 18th, the first 15,000 fans will receive a set of 92 and 93 World Series replica rings. Arrive early for the unveiling of the statue of Joe Carter to honor the back-to-back World Series wins and to receive this unforgettable giveaway. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/tickets. Dan?
Well, that's cool. That is the first Saturday out of the All-Star break when the Chicago White Sox come to town. The tied for first in the American League Central Chicago White Sox.
That happened fast.
It did. A lot of young players who have their prospects are starting to make it to the major leagues and contributing. The White Sox, remember the Blue Jays played them way back at the beginning of the season. I think the Blue Jays lost 2 out of 3 in Chicago. The White Sox are a much improved team this year. Spencer Miles back on the mound, top 8. It's a foul ball off the bat of Justin Crawford. It's 1-1. All of a sudden, this game feels a lot different right now. This isn't just getting work in for Spencer Miles or wanting to soak up innings. This is keep him in the ball game after the Blue Jays just got 3 in the bottom of the 7th. So Jose Alvarado is available. 2 of the last 3 and some fairly high pitch counts. Just 12 last night, 28 2 days before that. Don Mattingly's got one of his lefties up.
jokingly referred to Alvarado today as a guy that could just pitch every single day, always wants the ball, but he tries so hard to keep him out of situations that aren't really leveraged because you want to keep him fresh for those, but he's going to need to use him again tonight.
Swung on and missed. Miles gets Crawford.
Good movement running away from the left-handed hitter at 98 miles per hour. So the rotation on that pitch is running away.
Gets the first batter, and now back around to the top of the order, Kyle Schwarber, who has struck out, had an infield hit, homered, and walked.
Some effortless 97-98s there.
'98 again. Well, we saw 95-96 regularly in 4-inning stints. You know, maybe if he's down into shorter stints going forward. The phrase that is always used in baseball is the stuff plays up.
Yeah, that's what makes Spencer so intriguing, right? I mean, yes, he's very intriguing as a starting pitcher maybe in the future, but boy, in the bullpen when that stuff plays up a little bit, you're getting some 98 with sink. Not to mention the 2 breaking balls.
Swing and a miss. Miles gets Schwarber.
Little misfire there. Spencer knows it too as he looked back at his catcher, but when you've got the stuff that he has, you can get away with that on occasion. You see that slider didn't do much, kind of backed up, but was able to get a pretty good hitter.
Back-to-back strikeouts, and here's Trey Turner, 1 for 4. A single and 3 strikeouts, and he picked that one up a little bit late. It was a little bit up and in, not as close to him as he thought it was for a moment. He just checked the scoreboard too and saw 97. Fouls it back, 1-1. What an interesting guy Spencer Miles has been this year, and what a great pickup for the Blue Jays, getting him in the Rule 5 draft from the Giants. Not the A swing right there. Valenzuela didn't need to ask for the appeal. He went around, and it's 1-2.
Well, that's how you get swings like that, because you've got 96-98 with the sinker, and then you throw the little slider out there, and that sinker's got downward movement and run to it.
Turner shoots one to right. Lucas over, and that's that. 3 up, 3 down. Blue Jays coming back up.
This Sunday, one fan's life will be changed forever. Jays Care will be drawing the winner of their 50 seasons jackpot, which is now over $1.7 million. That number is projected to surpass $2.5 million by Sunday's draw. Join in before it's too late. Head to bluejays.com/5050 to get tickets now from participating provinces. Dan?
And a thank you. Here's the left-hander Jose Alvarado. He got a couple of outs in last night's game. Got Nathan Lucas to ground out. Struck out Ernie Clement. 10th year in the big leagues. 4 with the Rays. 6 with the Phillies. Big arm. But as we mentioned last night, Joe can be a little bit around. He can be nails, lights out, or he can kind of be all over the place sometimes too.
Hard sinker. Will be up in the upper 90s with that pitch. Just saw a pretty darn good sinker from the right side from Spencer Miles, and Alvarado comes from right up top.
He'll face Brandon Valenzuela, Andres Jimenez, and Miles Straw, the 6, 7, 8 hitters in the Blue Jay lineup. And he starts Valenzuela with a strike. Valenzuela 1 for 3, had an RBI single to right in the 6th. That drove in the first run of the night for the Blue Jays. Called strike. The way Valenzuela kind of turned, I think that surprised him. I think he was expecting that to be called a ball. It did look like it might have clipped the top of the zone, and it's 0-2. Inside, ball one. It's a nasty cutter.
Yeah, he will mix the cutter as well, but a lot of sinkers from Alvarado.
Valenzuela trying to get something started here in the bottom of the 8th inning. That's way too high. Ball two. Fights it off. Tyler Rogers is up in the pen. The only guys down there who haven't pitched: Simeon, Woods, Richardson, Rogers, and Louis Varland. Swing and a miss. A nasty cutter down and in for out number one. This is a great example of hitting is really hard.
Is it ever, especially after you're seeing those 98s with sink, and that's just biting down and in.
One out, and here's Andres Jimenez, who came on as a pinch hitter for Charles McAdoo in the 6th. He's got to stay. There are no options here for John Schneider. The guys on the bench right now: Dalton Varsho, left-handed batter, the wrist not 100%. Tyler Heineman, and then Jesus Sanchez. And you're obviously saving Sanchez for a spot, maybe if it comes up with a righty on the mound, a couple of men on, something like that. And positionally, they really wouldn't be able to do a whole lot here. So Jimenez stays and lifts a fly ball to left center, 2 down. And now Alvarado's going to face Miles Straw. Straw's had a couple of hits tonight, 2 for 3 and a run scored. Too high for ball one.
But you see how he uses the top of that zone with that sinker. It's almost a little oxymoron. Sinker, you're thinking sinking down in the zone, but we see guys throw it up. Spencer Miles was doing that a little bit. Very effective.
Top of the zone, 2-1. Miles doesn't care how he gets on. He just wants to get on. Just try to get something started. Alvarado talking to himself a little bit out there on the mound. And in there, 3-2.
Miles just gets the game. Yeah. He has a lot of plate appearances like this where you know what he's doing right here. He's just going to make him work and work and work and work. Try to draw that walk. Now, of course, he's got to be in swing mode, but it's a good approach.
And he'll get another one. He hasn't seen that cutter yet. 6 sinkers in a row. He has not seen that pitch that Alvarado used to get Valenzuela. Line to right field, and it's down for a base hit. How about Miles Straw?
How about that at bat? Third hit of the night for Straw, and he knows they need base runners, so he's trying to work Alvarado as much as he could. That sinker came down and in on him, but he stays inside it and drops it in front of Baroa, the old Blue Jay.
A man on with 2 down by 3, and here's Nathan Lucas. And again, as we saw, this is a very tough matchup for a left-handed batter. Lucas is 1 for 2 with a walk in the game. Nobody up in the Phillies pen. Straw thought about it, then put the brakes on. He didn't pick it up right away, and given that, probably wisely decided to get back to first.
Because of the angle where he is at first base, you can't necessarily tell how far this ball gets away from the catcher. So he wasn't going to go, then he thought he would go, but Real Muto recovers quickly.
Better safe than sorry.
Oh, absolutely. Playing the scoreboard, down 3.
Swing and a miss, 1 and 2. That's the cutter. And that's strike 3 called to end the inning. So a 2-out base hit, but that is all. 7-4 Phillies going to the top of the 9th.
Leadoff hitter, the crowd acknowledges Max. Max acknowledges the crowd and his teammate. A very special moment for a future Hall of Famer here in a Blue Jays uniform.
Unfortunately for Scherzer, gave up a home run later that inning and a 3-run shot to Alec Bohm. So Max went 3 1/3, charged with 5 runs tonight. The Blue Jays down 7-4. They sure made it interesting in the bottom of the 7th. It's now the top of the 9th, and Tyler Rogers, who has not pitched the last couple of days, will come on here to face Harper, Marsh, and Bohm.
Well, all you can do is try to hold down the fort. John Schneider basically emptying his bullpen tonight after the short start by Scherzer, trying to give his team a chance in the bottom of the 9th.
Harper homered, reached on a fielder's choice, grounded out, and walked and scored as he takes strike 1 called from Tyler Rogers. Awkward swing, 0-2. And Joe, it looks like Don Mattingly is going to do something that teams rarely do. Certainly this early in the season, he's going to use a reliever 3 days in a row.
Weren't we just talking about him earlier tonight, saying how somewhat old school he is?
Yeah.
He talked about using relievers in certain situations and having a reliever come in for an inning and maybe go back out for another hitter, and doing things that we don't necessarily see as much in terms of protecting that bullpen. But it looks like Duran is going to see the 9th.
Not a lot of pitches, 9 on Monday, 8 on Tuesday, but still, no matter what the number is, teams rarely use relievers 3 days in a row these days, certainly not in June. And I'm sure Duran did his throwing before the game, and conversations were had, and everybody signed off on this. Harper's not having much fun so far in this match. And this is one of the game's great players, and you can just see how uncomfortable sometimes hitters look against Tyler Rogers. It's just different.
A lot of soft contact. Tough to square up.
Well, he had a better swing on that one. He got a slider up and away, and he lines it into right center. And he is into second with a leadoff double. Next ball game for the Blue Jays is Friday night. The New York Yankees, who are already in town, will be the opposition Ben Rice leading the way, especially with Aaron Judge on the IL. Trey Savage will get the start in the opening game of that series. Savage had a great outing at Yankee Stadium back on the 20th of May. He went 6 scoreless innings, allowed just 2 hits, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 8. And we've kind of seen a lot of different kinds of starts from Trey Savage, from dominant to kind of grinding it out without his best stuff to walking 7 that one time. And listen, he's just in his first full season in the big leagues. It's a process for everybody, no matter how talented you are, but always fun to see him pitch against the Yankees.
And the Yankees have a lot more guys swinging the bats well. Ben Rice continues to do his thing. Spencer Jones, who we saw, Judge now on the injured list, he has been swinging the bat well.
Grounded back to Rogers. He'll look Harper back and throw out Marsh, who never dropped the bat. Brandon Marsh went all the way down to first base with the bat in his hands.
Helping the bat boy out tonight.
Well, Rogers' first inclination was to check the runner. That's a good thing, but Marsh just said, yeah, you've got me. Bring it to the dugout with me.
Cleaning up after himself.
Yeah.
Here's Alec Bohm, the biggest hit of the night, the 3-run home run off Scherzer back in the 3rd. Two 2-0. Tim Mesa has joined Joan Duran. Maybe score dependent here. Fly ball left field, long run. Pinango there to make the catch. 2 down. Playing way over to left center field, and a lot of times you do see the outfield shifted around to the opposite field. Even a guy like Rogers, who doesn't have a lot of velocity. So 2 down, and here's Stott. He's had a good night. A couple of hits, a walk, a stolen base, a run driven in. Bohm giving Baroa a little bit of information on how things look against Rogers. Strike 2. Tied him up. That's a fair ball. And the flip by Rogers from the glove to get him. Guerrero in disbelief. That was the only shot he had. And Rogers, who never shows any emotion on the field, even he couldn't help but smile. The only way to get it done is the way that Tyler Rogers got it done for the 3rd out here in the top of the 9th. Tim Avanca, thank you very much. Well, they did it last night against Joan Duran. Can they do it again? Now, they were down just 1 last night. They are down 3 right now. Duran entering the game for the 3rd day in a row against something you do not see much at all these days in the majors, certainly in June. But Don Mattingly feels that this is the best way for his team to try to get a win here tonight. And he will face the top of the order in Springer, Guerrero, and Clement.
3 straight singles off the bats of Blue Jays hitters last night to walk off the Phillies. Do they have another one in them?
Guerrero on deck. Springer's going to lead it off. Springer is 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. And right away, Duran wants a new baseball. 7 runs, 10 hits, and an error for the Phillies. 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors for the Blue Jays. Each team has left 8 men on. And Springer lines it into right center, a base hit. I mean, we're not messing with you folks. This guy's one of the best pitchers in baseball, one of the best closers in the game. And the Blue Jays have had a hit off him in their last 4 at-bats going back to last night.
And he's got some of the best pitches in the game. And you wonder if maybe George said, I'm going to look for that splitter first pitch. He's pointing back to his dugout saying, I told you guys.
Now Guerrero. And a grounder to second. Stott, Turner, Harper, double play.
Well, the same idea from Vladdy that George had. He went looking for that first pitch splitter, and he got it. But couldn't do much with it.
So just like that, now they're down to their final out. It'll be Ernie Clement. Drove in a run with a sac fly his last time up.
Duran left that splitter up too. It was dead central, middle of the zone.
And these are frustrating times for number 27. Somehow Clement gets a piece of it to stay alive. These two teams will meet again in August in Philadelphia. You play every team in the other league just once except your so-called natural rival, and these two teams have been paired up as rivals over the years. Clement will, oh, it's off the glove of Turner. It looked like he had it in his sights, but he couldn't make the catch. And Clement is aboard.
Right off the end of the bat, and I think Ernie's feeling it in his fingertips. That's where you feel it when you cue it off the end of your bat. It looked like Turner was there. Couldn't come up with it. Off his glove.
So now Okamoto trying to get on and bring the tying run to the plate. They will give Ernie second, but Okamoto fouls it off. 0-1.
Don't doubt a lot of these guys are going up looking for that splitter. Okamoto got a good one there. Pretty good swing on it. Just missed it. You want to make that pitch be up.
Breaking ball in there. Went with a sweeper for a strike. Clement will take second on defensive indifference, but the Blue Jays are down to their final strike now. And a challenge from Real Muto.
Pitch is called the ball. The catch is challenging.
This would end the game if he's correct, and it does.
Call is overturned. The game is over.
The call is overturned. The game is over. The Phillies win it 7-4. Blue Jays tried to make it interesting in the late innings, but couldn't get all the way back. Fell behind early, lose 7-4, and the Phillies take the series.
Well, this one did not start well with the first inning home run by Bryce Harper, and the Phillies added 3 more off Max Scherzer in that 3rd inning, 2 more in the 4th. The Blue Jays were down early, and it was just too much to come back from.
So a day off for the Blue Jays tomorrow, and then the Yankees are here for a 3-game series beginning Friday night. The Blue Jays now 33-36 on the season. Time now for Sportsnet Central, brought to you by KFC with Tim and Ivanka.